Hi everyone, this is OCD Live. I'm Ali Grayman. We're going to be answering some questions about OCD. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, please subscribe. If you have a question that you would like me to answer on the next show, please leave it below any of the videos and let's get started. First question is, I have lots of problems. I wish I could message you personally. Would you respond? I'm feeling horrible right now. Guys, honestly, my inbox is so cluttered in in my email info at youhaveocd.com. I do answer, I try to clear out my inbox every single day, but in terms of reading very long messages and answering, because see guys, what happens is if somebody asks me a question and then I answer them that question, then they'll have something else, you know what I mean? So it becomes a 2, 3 email interaction. But while that first person is writing to me, I have other people writing to me. So that list of emails is getting bigger and bigger and bigger because they're writing back as new people are writing. So you guys have to understand, I'm only one person. I don't have a secretary who's doing it for me or anybody else really. So please be respectful. I do answer questions through the channel here under, if you leave a question under any of the videos, I'd be happy to answer it on the next show. Or if you want to sign up for the recovery program, then message me through email. But, in terms of, and especially if people are seeking reassurance and trying to figure it out, I mean, first of all, I'm not going to give you reassurance. If you watch this channel by now, I'm not going to give you reassurance. And second of all, it's, I just don't have enough time to counsel people over email. So please understand. And I mean, as you guys know, as much as I can give a discount on the program, I'm, happy to do so. But, in terms of just answering emails all day, I can't do that, obviously. Okay, so let's move on to the next question. What to do when you have very intrusive thoughts and images every second of the day? I cannot look anything. I cannot look at anything normally. It's been months. Please help. You have to start doing the work. The more you follow what OCD is doing, what OCD is telling you, the worse you're gonna get. And this is in the situation that you're in right now. So start picking yourself up from this moment forward. Start challenging what OCD is saying. So if OCD gives you an image or gives you a thought, instead of following it and choosing to react to it as if it's important, start choosing to react to it as if it's an OCD thought. And I promise you, once you recover, you will see that these were all OCD thoughts and you did the right thing by reacting this way. But the more you follow OCD, you're going to start to, go down worse and worse into the OCD. So whatever OCD is, first figure out what the theme of your OCD is. Okay, say for example, it's, I don't know, harm OCD, just for an example, right? Or religious OCD or whatever, it doesn't really matter, right? Just figure out what your specific theme or main theme and then secondary themes are. Okay, now anything that has to do with these themes is off limits in terms of thinking, analyzing, getting reassurance. It's figuring it out by going and researching online, asking people. All of it is off limits. These topics is something you will not give your attention to in any way. They're irrelevant. They don't exist. If they come into your mind, let them come into your mind because you can't really stop them, but don't give the reaction. So the thought comes in, what if something bad is going to happen? This is my topic. I'm not reacting. I'm moving on. I'm sick of this. That should be the proper response. Not, let me try to examine it. Oh my God, I'm so scared. Let me try to figure it out. Now my thoughts are getting worse. You know what I mean? So, and when you're saying it that this is my OCD, these are my typical thoughts, I'm not giving them energy, I'm moving on, you're coming from a very strong position of power. When you're coming from a position of power, the OCD has no way to go but down. It can't go up without you powering it up. Your anxiety can't go up without you powering it up. So let's stop powering it up, and I promise you, when and if you're gonna stop powering it up, you will start to improve. But until then, it's not gonna happen. You need to do it. Do you know what I mean? So as long as you do this, and I mean, this channel has plenty of information to support you in that. but it's just pushing through, you know? So next question is, how do you stop fearing that the OCD thought will come back when you are recovering? And is it possible to never experience the OCD again, or will it always come back during time of stress? So with the OCD, the fearing of the thought coming back, when you're doing that, you're coming from a position, obviously coming from a position of fear, right? And that in itself will bring up more thoughts, because if you're saying to your mind, basically the message that you're sending is, I'm so scared that this thought is going to come back, and your mind's job, that part of the brain's job, is to protect you, is going to say, okay, well, how about this, how about that, and give you variations of that thought, right, to protect you because you're fearing it, right? So instead, the attitude should be, you know what, while I'm recovering, the thought might and will come back, from time to time, less and less as you're progressing in recovery. In terms of the second part of the question, is it possible to never experience the OCD again, or will it always come back during times of stress? In the beginning, it most likely will come back during the times of stress. It's going to try to, because when you're in a stressful situation, your mind views that as like a fear situation, right? And it's going to try to find, well, what else were you worried about, right? Oh, the OCD stuff, right? Your mind doesn't see OCD as different from your real life situations, and that's the problem why you have OCD in the first place, right? So when you're having a real life stress, it can try to bring up OCD. But this is only while you are still in the process of recovery. For the rest of your life, absolutely no. Once you recover, and you have been recovered for a significant period of time, I would say up to a year, I would say that it's reasonable in most cases. I don't know how long you've had OCD, and a lot of it depends on how hard you're working on recovery, how long you've had the OCD generally. But if you're talking about majority of my clients, I would say the first few months is the hardest, where thoughts are coming back all the time. In terms of, depending which way the wind blows, basically, a little bit of stress and bam, you get a thought. Around the mark of 6 months, it gets better. To a point where they're basically not getting the thoughts anymore. But I always say to my clients that just because you're not getting the thoughts, or you're feeling like you're pretty much recovered, your mind is still very much on edge. You're kind of like freshly recovered, So for the first year of recovery, it's important to still very much watch where your thoughts are. And am I getting too obsessed, too worked up about something? And if I am, I'm pulling back. You know what I mean? So you're taking that mindfulness, third-person perspective, and you are monitoring your thoughts. Just as a prevention kind of purpose. And then after a year, if you've been strong for a year, I mean. Stress is just going to be stress. It's not going to bring on OCD stress. So, and you can use the same techniques as you use in OCD in times of stress. Is this thought valid? Right? It might be not like an outrageous thought about, say, like killing somebody or something like that, right? But more thought of, I don't know, say you're dating somebody, well, why didn't they call me back, or whatever, or some trouble at work, and you know what I mean? But you're still getting too worked up about it. So, okay, this is no longer actually having a purpose, this kind of thought process, so I'm not going to pay attention to it. And I find that when people, I say this all the time, but it's important to note that when you recover from OCD, you will be ahead of everybody else in terms of how you're handling thoughts, because you're able to disregard the thoughts. You're able to sort through your thoughts. This is not valid. This is not rational. This is not serving me any purpose. I'm not going to pay attention to any of these, But while most people kind of, give energy to any thought that's coming into their mind, So there is a small silver lining to all this, I promise you, because I am on the other side of it, and I can, I notice a difference between how I'm thinking about thoughts right now, just everyday life things, versus how, say, for example, people in my family do, and it makes it easier to live, because you are able to focus on what's important, what's productive, and not focus on the other stuff. So just, but I mean, you have to do the work. So that's the whole thing. Like, that's the whole message of this channel, is you have to do the work. Nobody can do it for you. I mean, in terms of my recovery program, I can certainly support you, and it does create huge help. Another part of the recovery program that helps is the fact that I want everyone who went through the recovery program, and that's what happens, is they become an expert in the disorder, in the recovery, in how OCD works, and when you become an expert, nothing is a surprise, right? Why am I having this thought? Oh, because I was stressed, because of the reassurance, because of this or that. Or why do I feel good? Oh, because I was working. Like, you start to understand why is this theme, why it's that theme. There's no surprises, and because it starts to be very much explainable, the fear goes away, So anyways, let's move on to the next question. Hi, Ali. I have to say that this battle with OCD, I felt all alone. Everybody's saying that OCD has no cure. These people was saying OCD has no cure. Like, how, when doctors start to say that, I swear, and then it's just something I deal with every single day, I swear. And then they're so surprised when the person is recovered. After they said that they couldn't recover, the person comes back and they're like, oh, but you don't have OCD anymore. How did that happen? Don't get me started. But after listening to you, I feel stronger in this fight. Thank you for being there for all of us. So you're very welcome. I'm happy to help. I mean, this is the thing. When I was going through it, I went through a lot of different ways to try to recover, including like therapy and medication and vitamins, and pretty much really tried everything under the sun. And I'm doing this because I wish I had it when I was recovering. If anybody's wondering why I'm doing this channel, that is really the basic reason, that it needs to be here. And also, all the other channels that are doing similar kinds of things, right? It's all towards the good. It's all towards helping people recover, because I talk to people every single day. I have sessions during the week, on the weekends, every single day. And I can tell you that the situation, and I talk to people all around the world, right? So the situation is very, very bad. Out of probably, if you say out of 10 people that I talk to, maybe one would have a I wouldn't even say out of 10. I would say maybe out of maybe 30, one would have a doctor that actually knows what they're talking about, and the other 29 would not. You know what I mean? So it's like that's kind of the percentage. It's not good. It's not good, especially in some countries. It's really, really bad. I'm not gonna read the rest of the message just because it's really sweet, but I don't know. It's just I don't want to talk about myself, kind of thing. Okay, so let's move on to the next question. If a woman recovers from OCD and anxiety, then if she gets pregnant, is there any chances for relapse? Because most of them say that the OCD and anxiety gets worse when they become pregnant. I talk to a lot of women who either are pregnant or post-birth. I'm not sure why I have a lot of clients in this area, but I do have quite a bit of clients who are going through that. So I do have a lot of experience. What I can say that hormones do play a part, and it's not just the hormones. When you have a major shift in your life, such as having a baby, it's what I talked about in the first question, where the person asked about stress. Having a baby is good stress, but it is still stress. and everything that goes along with having a baby. We need all this stuff, the relationship between mother and father, you know, everything starts to escalate, especially right before birth and right post-birth when people are not sleeping, and you know it's hard, you know, especially the sleep part plays a huge element, because I find that, again, because of so much experience, that generally clients recover better when they're sleeping normal hours. It's not a make or break, but I find that it is fairly important. You know, I would say it's on the same level of importance as, you know, if I say that you shouldn't be drinking coffee. I mean, 1 cup a day is probably all right early in the morning, but anything beyond that, or tea. Sometimes people don't drink coffee, but they'll drink like 20 cups of tea a day. It's the same kind of effect, right? So, because, you know, it's upping your anxiety, right? So it's the same type of thing, you know. It's improper sleep can create more stronger OCD. Maybe not even maybe not even stronger OCD, but it will weaken your reaction if you're not alert, if you're not able to catch the thought and fight the thought right in the moment. It's, you know, it can get worse, and then from it being worse, it's harder to dig yourself out from that, rather than if you would have reacted the right way. But to react the right way, you have to be alert, right? Like, that's what I'm talking about. So all of and the hormones, and, you know, all of that as well. So all those things combined, I do find that it does get worse, but not so much worse that it's like, you know, you can't handle it. It's just noticeably more stressful. But if you are going into a pregnancy, or if you are pregnant right now, and you say, okay, you know what, I feel a little bit worse, but it's because this, and this, just like how I explained to you. So again, going back to becoming an expert in a disorder, right? You understand why it's happening, then it takes the fear out, and then because it takes the fear out, you stop reacting. And when you stop reacting, it loses power, it goes away. So, you know, the point here is not to alter your life in any way because of OCD. The more you say, I can't do this job because I have OCD, I can't get pregnant because I have OCD, I can't, I don't know, whatever, go outside because I have OCD, I can't do everyday tasks because I have OCD, right? That's, you know, kind of common things that people do, right? And sometimes they're valid, but most of the time they're just mechanisms of avoidance, where I'm so scared I want to avoid this, but it will bring on more OCD because you're avoiding out of fear. Again, the reaction of fear. All right. So I would say, you know, if you want to get pregnant, you know, and then work on your OCD. My clients ask me all the time, you know, should I wait for OCD to, you know, get better and then do something afterwards? And, you know, my answer is usually no, unless they're in a really bad space, you know. But if they're, you know, in the process of recovery, I would say first get into the recovery mode, into the recovery zone, where, you know, you're continuously doing disregarding the thought. I mean, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but generally you're on that path. You feel that more or less you're getting that rhythm, and then after that, it's just a matter of, once you get on the path, once you get on the rhythm, after that, it's just a matter of time. You're already on the road. It's, are you gonna run, or are you gonna walk, or are you gonna crawl? You know, and to be honest with you, the only difference between these three is the time, you know. And I always try to push the clients as much as I possibly can, because I don't want them to suffer any more than they were already suffered. Do you know what I mean? So what's the point of, and this is the opposite of what most doctors do, because they want you to be sick for as long as possible, because that's money, right? So, it's, I'm not getting into the doctor's thing, but the faster you go through that road between where you start and the finish line of where you recover from OCD, the better, you know? And that just depends on the level of disregarding every day, you know? And again, that's why the program helps, because we have the text. I find that the crucial part of the recovery program is the text support. where if the client's feeling bad, they can text me. Because when they're doing that, they're texting me, and then we're bringing it back to how this is an OCD thought, rather than, them going online trying to figure it out, or asking people, or trying to solve it in their head, or doing some sort of a compulsion. Just keeps them on the road. If you're doing it by yourself, you have to be focused on keeping yourself on that road, so you go through it really fast. At least if you're beginning OCD recovery, at least try to delay the thought. If you say I can't disregard it, okay, but can you delay it? So I need to think about this, but I'm going to choose not to think about this right this second. I'm going to choose to think about it, I don't know, in an hour at least, right? So because when you're doing that, you're still coming from a position of power. You're saying, okay, I'm in control. This is not important right now. I will think about it in an hour, but I control when I think about this, and that helps. So next question is this OCD? I watch something or think something, my brain sends me connection with real situation in the past or about a person. Well, when your mind is focused on an OCD theme, right, anything that is at all connected to that theme is going to trigger you, or try to trigger you, right? So yeah, it's normal. This is what happens to anybody who has OCD, people can, watch a show and get triggered, or somebody said something, or they even had a dream, it's all pretty much how OCD goes. And every time when you have, if you're talking about more of a PRO situation, whenever you get this kind of trigger, this is the exposure. With PRO, the exposure and response prevention, right? So the thought itself is the exposure, and what do you do with that thought is your response. So what if, or oh my god, this situation, exposure, no, I'm not reacting, this is still my theme, I'm not giving it energy. That's the proper response. And then you move on to something that you want to do. If you feel like the situation is really scaring you and it's really hard to give that response, right after you respond that you're not reacting, try to go outside or do something, or call somebody to talk about something else, just to sidetrack your mind into something else. Give it something else to think about, and then you will see that because you're not giving it energy, you will start to feel better. So next question is, Ali, when I'm thinking about something and I get a thought, is this also OCD, and how do I react? Same thing. So you're thinking about, the thought comes into your mind, you're not reacting. Yeah, and obviously it's OCD. Sometimes I feel okay and I'm able to do things, but then OCD pops up and makes me feel bad and makes it seem like I'm a bad person. Is this normal? Yes, it is normal. It's whenever you feel that, oh my god, I'm a bad person, I need to solve this, I need to figure this out. Again, no reaction, you're just moving on. And feeling like you're a bad person is very, very common OCD theme. I think pretty much, because a big part of OCD is something like, people think that, what if I did something bad? What if I'm going to do something bad? What if I'm a bad person? That comes with a level of guilt. Not every type of OCD has this, because some types, like it just doesn't apply, right? Such as, say for example, it's, you know what, like it's even hard for me right now to think which theme it doesn't apply to, because if you think of the cleaning type of OCD, right, the one that's most described, well, what they don't talk about is, why is the person cleaning obsessively, and a lot of the time, not all the time, but a lot of the time, it's because if the person will say, well, if I don't clean, I have young kids, and if I don't clean, then they might get poisoned with something, or I have pets that will get poisoned with something, or something bad is going to happen if I, you know what I mean? So we're still coming back to harm OCD. It is kind of, it looks like cleaning OCD, but the reason behind it a lot of the times is still harm, which is still guilt. Same thing with religious OCD. Well, I feel like I'm saying something that goes against my religious beliefs, and again, the guilt of that, So I mean, that's all of this stuff is very common that it makes you feel like a bad person. Just don't react to it. This is still same OCD stuff, you know? Don't give it energy. If it's a feeling, you know, it comes down to a feeling. I feel like this. It makes me feel like that. Again, OCD, these feelings are not valid. They're there. They're hurting you. I understand, but they're not valid. And you have to live parallel to them. They're on this side. You know, if you think of it like you're driving in the car. They're in the next lane, but you're going in your lane. And the brain will fix itself. If you continue to give it no energy and just continue going down in your lane, pretend like you already got over OCD and you're doing things as if you got over OCD. You're living life as if you already got over OCD. You know, if you continue to do that, that next lane, that car in the next lane that's following you or going alongside you, eventually is just gonna go away, you know? You just keep on your goal and just keep going. And so the last question is, I'm currently almost a month into recovery and I can say that the thoughts are going away. Even if another thought comes in, it takes me seconds to dismiss it. Perfect. That's exactly what you should be seeing, guys. If you see thought after thought after thought, that's good because that means the brain cannot attach to a single thought for a long time. So if they're switching, that's an excellent sign of recovery. If you have a thought that's not going away, that means you're doing reassurance. You have to reassess. But there's only one thought left for me to deal with, and for some reason it won't go away. That's probably because that's your primary OCD thought, and that's the one that's the hardest to deal with. Those usually go away last, but you are on the right track. With this specific thought, I do all the right things, but the only thing is I believe that the thought could be true. I think that one of the thoughts that are... I think it's one of those thoughts that are 10 out of 10 in terms of my OCD, anxiety, and fear. And I know that if I get over this thought, I will take a bigger leap in my recovery. How do I overcome this thought? Just choose not to view it as a real thought. You know, choose to view it as OCD. I can, you know, just by the way you're posting the question, and because of the experience I have, I can tell you 100%. And not to give you reassurance, but this is 100% OCD. But you have to do the work. You know, just push through. View this thought as every other thought that you viewed that you kind of dismiss now. You know, same thing. Giving you anxiety, giving you fear, disregarding, just moving on. And last question is, I'm confused. It's like when I'm anxious, I want to say it on purpose or link it with the problem and say the thing I most fear. Can you start saying the OCD things that you most fear on purpose? Again, this is just an OCD, this is just OCD trying to mess with you, you know? Don't give it energy, disregard it, and don't try to solve these things. Am I saying it on purpose? Am I not? You just say, this is OCD. I'm not giving this kind of thought process any energy. I'm just moving on. And you will see that these thoughts and these questions will fall away. Don't answer these questions. Don't try to figure it out. The figuring out in this situation is the compulsion. Don't do it. Okay? So this is it for today's show. If you would like to start a recovery program, you can do so on youhaveocd.com. Please subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next videos. Also, I'm doing a lot of new things on the channel right now. I would love to know your opinion. Do you like it? Do you not like it? Would you like to see these things done slightly different? We're doing latest OCD research. We're doing some support videos. So if you like it, please let us know, or if you would like it a little bit different, I would love to hear your opinions. Thank you guys so much. Thank you for listening. Have a great day. I'll see you in the next video.